In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can build this widget right here. Hi, my name's Ned. I work in business intelligence, and I'm a Microsoft MVP with a focus on Power BI. And this is going to be a tutorial where I show you how you can build this next level visual. But first, before we jump into the computer, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button and then hit the subscribe button, it would mean a lot. All right, let's get building. So here's the visual that I was showing you in Microsoft Power BI Desktop, and it's actually two visuals. So let's go ahead and ungroup them, and then let's take a look at what these two visuals are. The first one is a pretty simple card visual, and this card visual is using three measures, believe it or not. The first measure that it's using is pretty obvious, and that's this sales measure that I have over here in the values section. If we click on this, what you can see is that it's just a simple sum of the column value. The second and third measure aren't quite as clear, but they are a dynamic title that when, for example, a day is selected, changes to the selected day, and a dynamic reference label that when a day or days are selected, includes a percentage of the week total sales, as well as the daily average that's shown when no specific day is selected. So how are these measures working? Well, I have a measure called selected days that's essentially returning the number of distinct days that are selected in the report. And then I have a measure called selected days name that is concatenating the value of every single day that's selected. So for example, if I return Sunday, it's just returning Sunday. But if I click Sunday and Saturday, it's returning Saturday and Sunday separated by a comma. And this is following the same sort order that I'm sorting the weekly day abbreviations by. What this means, though, is that I can then create a measure called title that if this number of selected days available in the report equals 7, simply returns weekly sales with an if statement, or returns the total number of selected days name. So that would be that concatenation, concatenated again with the word sales. This is what produces that dynamic title. Regarding the reference label, it's pretty much the same thing. What we are doing is we're saying, hey, if there's 7 days selected, then return nothing, plus concatenate it with the daily average formatted as a currency. However, if there's less than 7 days selected, return the percent that sales is of all sales and then add in the weekly total. So it's again concatenated with the daily average that's always returned. To put these into the card, all I simply have to do is then expand the formatting pane, then go down to the callout section and select that sales measure or whatever your measure is called. In my case, it's called sales, and then go to label. Now, I am setting this label with a formula. If you don't have a formula set, it'll look like this, and you can go ahead and hit this little FX button. And then in the pop out, all you need to do is select the measure that's returning your dynamic title. So in this case, in this sample file, I called it title and hit OK. Regarding the reference label, you simply have to go down here to reference labels, then select the card that you want to create the reference and go to, which in my case again is sales, and drag it into this data pane right here. Now, you might notice that my card looks a little bit different than yours, and that is simply because I set a lot of the padding to 0 pixels on the gap setting. So right here on the label, I set the horizontal gap to 0, which makes a big difference. And then on the reference label percent, and I can never quite remember what this one is called, but if you go into all and go into somewhere, I will find it. I think it's maybe in cards, all layout, and change this call out size percent. You can see that it'll really adjust the way the card fits in terms of keeping everything nice and tight together. So now at this point, we've gone ahead and we've built like half the widget that I showed you earlier in the video. And this is where we get to where some of the magic is happening. And that's because I'm using what's called a DAX UDF, or user defined function, that I wrote that returns a SVG visual. And the SVG visual that is returning in this case is the little bars. And the bar graph itself is just simply a button slicer. So how is that working? Well, let's jump back into the computer and let's take another look. So here we are back in the report, and let's look at the user-defined function that's creating these little bars. Like, how are they bouncing, right? And how are they changing color when they're clicked? Well, it's all via a DAX UDF, or user-defined function, that I wrote. Now, this DAX UDF takes a color scheme that controls the color, right? So be it spring, sunset, ocean, forest, right? And you can play around with all these colors. Forest is green, right? I just gave them some kind of fun names. It takes a value that the bar is meant to represent, a max value, which controls the scale that the value is going to be compared against, and then a true if the bar should be animated and bounce up, and a true if the bar should be selected. So how does all of that work? Well, let's do a quick deep dive. The base fill color is the unselected color. So that's this little light green right here. Uh, the selected color is the dark green. So if selected equals true, right, it returns a dark green, and that hex code that it's returning is right here. Separately, we also have a border color, and then we have the actual bar itself. So here's the math behind that. And this is where we're doing something special. If animate is true, we're applying this SVG animate code that essentially bounces the bar slightly up, as long as it won't bounce out of screen. Then finally, we're just simply returning a DAX image URL, which then means that we can create 3 measures: bounce, normal, and selected. And each one of these measures calls my DAX UDF and then is used in a different state in the button slicer that is actually making up this bar graph. Now, all of these measures are using a measure that I've hidden over here called color. And color is just simply set to forest, right? And that's because I want this to be green. If I set this to nothing, what you'll see is that they will now all turn to gray, because that is my default selected color. I then, in each and every single one of these, am passing sales as the value that it's supposed to be evaluating for each day of the week. And then all sales, which is the total weekly sales, multiplied by essentially a scalar of zero 0.3, just so the bars fit a little better. And you could obviously adjust this scalar however you want. And then in each measure, for the normal measure, I'm saying, hey, mark selected as false and animated as false. For the bounce measure, I'm saying mark animated as true and selected as false. And then for the selected measure, I'm saying, hey, mark animated as false and selected as true. So this is a single UDF that is controlling 3 different states. And I'm going to go back and put this scalar over here. So what you're seeing is you're seeing a button visual that is just simply switching between 3 SVGs. So let's see if we can go ahead and recreate this. So I'm going to add over a blank button slicer right here. For my value, I am going to add in, I believe, the weekday abbrev right here. For my highlight label, I'm going to bring over sales right here. And as you can see, this is already starting to look pretty familiar. Then I'm going to go right here and I'm going to go, I believe, sort ascending, maybe sort descending. There we go. Actually, I want to go sort ascending. Then I'm going to, go right here, and I am going to go to multi-button layout. And in this case, I'm going to set this down to 1 row, 7 columns, right? And as you can see, we're already looking pretty good here. Then I'm going to search for gap right here. I'm going to set this gap equal to 0. So that way there's no gap between the two. I then am going to search up here for padding, and I am pretty much universally going to get rid of padding. In this case, I'm going to set this to narrow. So that way we have no padding right here. And it should allow us to get these really nice and tight. Then I am going to scroll all the way down to layout, and I'm going to drop them down to the bottom like this. Then I'm going to go to my value. I'm going to go bold, and I'm going to drop its size down right here. Then I'm going to go to label right here, and I am going to drop it down just ever so slightly so everything fits. And this is already looking pretty good. Oh, and oh, by the way, on value, I'm going to center it. Right. So here we go. We're starting to see our bar chart appear. Then I'm going to go down to image right here. And this is where I am going to go to all. And on the image, I'm going to go select from data, and I'm going to drag over my normal. Right? And there we are. We're already starting to see our bar chart appear. Then I'm going to go to hover, and I'm going to set this image equal to our bounce. So now as we roll on over, each and every single one of these is bouncing, right? Then I'm going to go to selected right here, and I am going to set that to our selected. So now when each one of these is selected, as you can see, it's changing color. However, these still look like buttons. So how do we make this look like our bar chart? Well, the answer is really pretty simple. We just have to scroll back on down to this button section on the all, turn off the border, and then turn off the background. Now, what this does mean is that when this is selected, we do need to go ahead and readjust the text here. So let's go over down here to selected and not there. Maybe it's over here. Up here under callout and then under value. If we change this to selected, yes, we do need to change our font color back to black. And then we need to change our label color over here also back to black. Or I guess it was set to a slightly lighter gray. So there we go. That's pretty much it. We now have a little bar chart that when we roll over, also acts as a button and controls various other things. Now, one of the things you might notice is I just have to hold the control key, and that I believe is because if I go into slicer settings, I have single select turned it on. So I'll just quickly turn that off. So now I can go through and I can select days that are coming through. Now, this is looking a little weird because we now have multiple slicers coming through. So let's go ahead and let's fix that by deleting the one that I showed you at the start of the video right here, turning off the title, and then simply, I think we're gonna need to set the background here off. So this is transparent. Set this right here and scooch it on over. And then we should be able to add a little border around both of these together by going over here, going insert in a shape right here. And then let's set the fill of this shape off, and then set the border to a light gray. And we'll just customize this. So this is, it looks like a nice little uniform widget. One other thing I would just recommend doing on this bar graph, and by the way, we then need to go over here and go format, send to back. But one of the other things I would recommend just doing on this little bar graph that we have right here is also going over here and searching for icons, which should be somewhere, header icons, and basically switching them all off. So that way, when this is published up to the service, you don't have that filter icon popping up. But there you have it. We just built the graph that I showed you at the start of the video. So with that, if you enjoyed this video, again, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. It helps keep me motivated to make these videos, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.